Why less is more, Stoic minimalism for a clear mind. You think you own your things. But walk slowly through your home and count how many of them are quietly renting space in your attention. The drawer you avoid opening. The subscription you forgot you pay for. The gift you keep out of guilt. You did not just buy these objects. You signed a lease, and the rent is paid in thought. We tend to believe that more is the path to a full life. More possessions, more plans, more opinions, more everything. But the Stoics saw something the marketing never mentions. Each thing you add asks something of you in return. It wants to be stored, maintained, defended, remembered. And a mind stuffed with obligations has no room left to actually think. So let me offer you an older idea, one that is nearly 2,000 years old and still quietly true. Less is not deprivation. Less is clarity. Consider the Stoic case for wanting little. Seneca, who was one of the richest men in Rome, wrote again and again about how luxury enslaves the very people who think it serves them. The wealthy man, he observed, is not free. He is guarded, watched, and worried, forever afraid of losing what he has piled up. His possessions do not obey him. He obeys them. Seneca practiced setting days aside to eat plain food and wear rough clothing, then asked himself, is this the condition I feared so much? Usually the answer was no. The fear had been larger than the fact. Then there is Marcus Aurelius, a man who wore the most powerful title on earth and yet trained himself to live plainly inside a palace. He reminded himself in his private notebook that a person needs very little to live well. A clear judgment, a useful action, a word of truth. He surrounded himself with wealth he did not depend on, holding it lightly, ready to let any of it go. And Musonius Rufus, the teacher, went further still. He taught that simple food and simple clothing were not hardships but training. The body that learns to be content with bread and water is a body that cannot easily be bribed by comfort or broken by loss. Simplicity, for the Stoics, was strength rehearsed in advance. All of it comes down to one filtering question you can carry with you everywhere. Is this necessary? Not, is this pleasant? Not, could I use this someday? Simply, is this necessary? Hold that question up to your possessions, your plans, your beliefs, and watch how much falls away. What remains is what actually matters. The Stoics were not against pleasure or comfort. They enjoyed both when they came. But they refused to depend on them, because anything you cannot live without has quietly become your master. The goal was never a bare and joyless life. The goal was a free one, where you keep what genuinely serves you and let the rest go without a fight. So let us walk through 6 areas of your life where less will give you more. The first area is your possessions. The Stoic rule here is simple. Keep what serves you, and release what merely performs for others. Much of what fills our homes is not there for use. It is there for display, a quiet argument we are making to visitors about who we are. But an object that exists to impress is a burden dressed as an asset. Here is a practice. Pick one drawer, one shelf, or one closet this week. For each item, ask whether you have touched it in the last year and whether you would buy it again today. If both answers are no, it is not serving you. It is performing. Let it go, and notice that the space it leaves behind is not empty. It is open. The second area is your commitments. Every yes you say is a no said somewhere else, whether you meant it or not. When you agree to the meeting, you decline the quiet morning. When you take on the favor, you borrow from your own rest. Most of us say yes automatically, as if agreeing were politeness and refusing were rudeness. But a life packed edge to edge with obligations is not a rich life. It is a crowded one. Try this. Before you accept anything new this week, pause and ask what this yes is quietly saying no to. Name the cost out loud. Often the thing you would be giving up is more valuable than the thing you would be gaining. Guard your yes as if it were money, because it is far more scarce. The third area is your information. Seneca warned his friend that wandering through many books and mastering none leaves the mind scattered rather than nourished. He compared it to a traveler who has many acquaintances everywhere but no true friendships anywhere. In our age this warning arrives magnified 1,000-fold. We swallow endless streams of news, opinions, and updates, and we retain almost none of it, only the low hum of anxiety it leaves behind. Here is a practice. Choose a few sources that genuinely feed you and treat everything else as noise. Reread a good book instead of skimming 10 new ones. Let some events happen without you knowing about them. A mind that consumes less can finally digest something. The fourth area is your opinions. You are not required to have a view on everything. The Stoics understood that most of our distress comes not from events but from our judgments about them, the hot, hasty verdicts we attach to things before we have understood them. Every strong opinion you hold is a small weight you must carry and defend. So hold fewer of them, and hold the ones you keep more lightly. Practice saying, I do not know, and I have not decided yet. When something provokes you online or in conversation, wait before you form your verdict. Ask whether you actually need an opinion here at all. A mind unburdened by 1,000 tiny judgments moves through the day with startling ease. The fifth area is your goals. One thing done fully beats 5 things done halfway. We scatter ourselves across many ambitions and wonder why none of them ripen. The Stoics prized focused, wholehearted action, the task in front of you done well, for its own sake, without one eye on the next thing. A person chasing 5 goals is really neglecting 5 goals at once. Try narrowing to a single meaningful aim for a season of your life. Let the others wait their turn without apology. When you wake, ask what the one important thing is today, and give it your best hours before the world fills them with lesser demands. Depth of effort, not breadth of ambition, is what actually finishes things. The sixth area is your relationships. Depth matters more than head count. We collect contacts the way we collect possessions, mistaking quantity for wealth. But 100 shallow connections cannot do what a few deep ones can. Seneca wrote long, careful letters to a single friend, because he understood that real friendship is built through attention, not accumulation. Here is a practice. Think of the 2 or 3 people who truly matter to you, and this week give one of them your undivided time. No phone, no rushing, no half-listening. Invest in a few, and let the wide, thin crowd of acquaintances thin out naturally. You were never meant to be close to everyone. So here is the strange truth the Stoics kept pointing at. The person who needs little is the one who is genuinely rich. Not because he has renounced the world in some grim way, but because nothing owns him. He can lose things without losing himself. He can be given more without being ruled by it. When you strip your life down to what is necessary, you are not left with less of yourself. You are left with more, because at last there is room. Wealth, Seneca said, is not having a great deal. It is wanting only a little. And that kind of wealth is one that no thief can steal and no accident can take. You carry it in the way you meet each day, unburdened, awake, and hard to disturb. You do not have to empty your house tomorrow. Start with 1 drawer, 1 commitment, 1 opinion you can set down. Feel how the space opens up behind it. That open space is not a void to be filled again. It is the clear mind you have been looking for the whole time, waiting quietly beneath everything you thought you needed.